Hello students, this is Raheema again. Welcome to the last video of nutrition in animals, and here we are going to end with the nutrition in animals and the digestive system of human beings. In the previous videos, we started off with the various modes of nutrition which takes place in animals, and then we moved on to the digestive system of human beings. Here we are going to further our discussion with the by focusing on the process of digestion. So let's start. So here is the screen. The topics that we are going to cover in this video are the digestive glands. Then we will move on to the digestion in grass-eating animals, which are the herbivores. And then we are going to end with disorders of the digestive system. So let's begin with the digestive glands. I already spoke about the two parts of the digestive system of human beings. There is the alimentary canal, the different parts of the alimentary canal, and the digestive glands, which are the accessory glands which help in the digestion process, basically. So, digestive glands, they are responsible for producing the digestive juices, which include the most important factor known as the enzymes, which help in breaking down the large molecules into smaller molecules. Okay, so these smaller substances are then absorbed through the small intestine into the bloodstream. So, if the digestive glands are not there, the substances they will not be broken down into smaller substances which can be easily absorbed by our blood. So the absorption and assimilation part of the digestion will not take place without the digestive glands. So in the digestive glands we basically have liver. Liver is the largest gland in our body. Okay, after liver there is gallbladder. Okay, and uh, there is pancreas. Okay, apart from these three separate organs, the separate glands, there are gastric glands, which are the glands of the stomach, and there are intestinal glands also, which are the glands of intestine. Okay, so gastric juices are produced by the gastric glands in the stomach, and intestinal juices are produced by intestinal glands in the intestine. So basically, bile is the secretion of the liver. Bile comes down through the bile duct into the cystic duct and gets stored in the gallbladder. Inside the gallbladder, the concentration of bile juice takes place, and then bile juice it comes out and gets emptied into the duodenum part of the small intestine. The pancreatic juice also empties its contents through the pancreatic duct into the duodenum of small intestine. So bile juice and pancreatic juice both get mixed and then enter into the small intestine of the digestive system. Okay, so liver, gallbladder, pancreas, gastric glands, and intestinal glands are the four types of glands of our digestive system. Okay, we are going to begin here with the gastric glands. With the help of glands, you can also understand after the food reaches to the stomach. Okay, what happens next? So, through the glands, we are actually discussing the steps also. of the digestion, which takes place in each part of the digestive system. So assume that the food has been ingested, it has been swallowed, and with the peristalsis, the food from the esophagus, it is slowly moving into the stomach. When it reaches the stomach, the gastric glands start producing their secretion for the next step, that is digestion. So the gastric glands, they will produce three things inside the stomach. Okay, the first thing is mucus. The mucus secreting cells produce a layer of mucus which lines the stomach to protect it from the second secretion, which is HCl, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, it is produced by the oxyntic cells. Oxyntic cells of the gastric lining of the stomach. Okay, and the third secretion is the enzyme pepsin, okay, which is secreted by the peptic cells. Peptic cells, also known as zymogen cells. So pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. Pepsin is actually secreted in its inactive form, pepsinogen, which is converted into active form of enzyme, which is pepsin, in the presence of HCl. Okay, so pepsinogen is inactive and pepsin is active. Usually, wherever this suffix is present in the names of the enzyme, it means it is an inactive enzyme. So gen means inactive. If it is in the name of the enzyme, it means it is an inactive enzyme. And pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. So, for example, suppose that the peptic cells are not working in the stomach, okay, or HCl is not being produced in the stomach properly. So, which part of the food will be not digested properly? Absolutely correct. Proteins will not be digested properly. Okay, so this is the whole magic that is performed by the gastric glands. Mucus, HCl, and pepsin are secreted in the stomach. Okay, now due to the HCl, the pH of HCl is basically 2. Okay, so the food that is churned inside the stomach, it becomes acidic. Okay, so the food inside the stomach, it is known as acidic chyme. Okay, now this churned food, partially digested food, now will move into the small intestine. Okay, it is ready to move into the small intestine. So the next step is, after the food moves into the small intestine, okay, the liver will produce its secretion, pancreas will produce their secretion, which will move into the duodenum part, and then from the duodenum into the ileum part of the small intestine, where basically all the components of the food are digested. Okay, so first we will start off with liver. Okay, liver, it produces bile. Bile is a yellowish greenish colored fluid, and it contains salts. Okay, these salts, due to the presence of these salts, the bile juice is basic. Okay, it is alkaline due to the presence of these salts. Okay, these are sodium salts basically, and they provide alkalinity to the bile juice. Now, bile only perform one function. It does not perform any chemical digestion because it does not contain any enzymes. Bile is involved in emulsification of fats. Okay. Emulsification of fats. So, emulsification is the process where the large fat droplets are broken down into the smaller droplets of fat. Okay. So, this is suppose a fat droplet, and by the action of bile, this fat droplet is broken down into tiny little droplets of fats, which are also surrounded by, water molecules. Okay. And water molecules and bile juice. And bile juice also helps in reducing the surface tension of this fat droplet. Okay. If the surface tension is not reduced, these fat droplets, they can come together, they can coalesce, and again can form this big fat droplet. Okay. So this function is known as emulsification. This process is known as emulsification, and it is performed by bile. Okay. Without the emulsification of the fat digesting enzymes cannot act on the fat droplets and digest it further. Okay. So bile is basically, by reducing the surface tension of fat droplet, it is also increasing the surface area so that the fat digesting enzyme, the lipid digesting enzymes, they can act on digesting the fats. Okay. This function is performed by the liver. Okay. We will further move on with the next juice that is produced by the pancreas. Okay. So following enzymes are produced by the pancreas. First is enterokinase. Enterokinase is it is actually secreted in the small intestine. Okay, but it helps in transforming trypsinogen into trypsin. So here also trypsinogen is, there is a suffix gen in this enzyme. So trypsinogen is an inactive enzyme which is converted into trypsin by the action of enterokinase. So these are the proteolytic enzymes. Trypsinogen, which is converted into trypsin, chymotrypsinogen, which is converted into chymotrypsin, carboxy polypeptidase, and carboxy polypeptidases. They all help in breaking down trypsin, and chymotrypsin helps in breaking down proteins into polypeptides and dipeptides. Polypeptides mean there are still multiple peptide bonds, and dipeptides, two peptide bonds are there, which have to be further broken down into individual amino acids. That is done by the carboxy polypeptidases, which splits them into the final product of proteins, that is amino acids. Okay. There is pancreatic amylase, that is a carbohydrate. It will act on starch, glycogen, and other carbohydrates other than cellulose. Humans cannot digest cellulose, so they will convert it into disaccharides and trisaccharides. There are lipid digesting enzymes also, like lipase, phospholipase, etc., and it hydrolyzes fats into fatty acids and monoglycerides. Okay. Phospholipases split fatty acids from phospholipids. Okay. And esterases, they are hydrolyzing the cholesterol. Okay. For you, the enzymes that I have highlighted, they are the important ones. Okay. So this I will just mention that it is from the pancreas. This is, these enzymes, they are coming into through the pancreatic juice into the small intestine. All these changes, they are taking place in the small intestine. Okay. Then finally, intestinal juice. In the intestinal juice, there are disaccharidases which are secreted. They convert the polysaccharides or any disaccharides which are there into monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are the uh, sugars, the simple sugars. Okay, these are the simple sugars. Dipeptidases, they will convert the dipeptides into individual amino acids, and nucleotidases, they will convert the nucleotides. Okay, nucleotides that are broken down from the DNA and RNA. Okay, DNA and RNA are broken down into individual nucleotides. Nucleotides are basically the subunits which join together to form DNA and RNA. So DNA and RNA are broken down into nucleotides. Nucleotidases will act on nucleotides to form nucleosides, and basically nucleotides, if you remove phosphate group from nucleotides, they will convert into nucleosides. So nucleotidases are only removing the phosphate group, and which converts them into nucleosides. Then nucleosidases will act on nucleosides to convert them into their final products, that is nitrogenous bases, sugars, and phosphates. Okay, so this is what is happening through the intestinal juice. These simple sugars, amino acids, and the nitrogenous bases, sugars, and phosphates, they are then enter the third process of digestion, the third step of nutrition, that is absorption. Okay, so underneath the villi, okay, this brush border you see, this is actually, they are talking about villi, which is present in the lining of the small intestine. These are finger like projections, they keep on moving back and forth, which helps in increasing the absorptive surface of the small intestine, and all these products of digestion, they are readily absorbed through the villi, and microvilli are also there. So villi are the cells of villi, they are further divided into microvilli. They have projections over their surface which are known as microvilli. So just beneath the microvilli, there are blood vessels. Okay, and there is a lymph vessel which is known as lacteal, and there are millions of villi and microvilli, and beneath these millions of villi there will be millions of blood vessels and millions of lacteals. So lacteals, they absorb the fatty acids. Okay, and rest product of digestion like sugars, okay, they are directly absorbed into the blood vessel. Amino acids, okay, they are also directly absorbed into the blood vessels. Even the digestion products of DNA and RNA are directly absorbed into the blood vessels. Okay, now from the blood vessels, after the absorption process, the next step is assimilation. Okay, and assimilation is basically the how this absorbed product, it is transferred to the cells and the tissues which require these different components. Okay, where the synthesis of useful products is done. Okay, where these products of digestion will be used up. So from the blood vessel and the lacteal, these products of digestion are sent to the different parts of the body, sent to the different cells of the body, where they are used up according to their own requirement. Okay, so after assimilation, now the final product of the waste product, I mean the undigested product, now will move on to the large intestine. Okay, in the large intestine, only water absorption takes place. After all the water has been absorbed from the undigested food, it comes down into the rectum, and from rectum into the anus, from where it is removed out. Okay, so after assimilation, the final step is egestion. So the whole uh, the whole process of digestion is complete. Okay, so I hope you understood the process of digestion with the help of step by step reactions that I explain with respect to the glands. Okay, so let's move on to digestion in grass eating animals. Okay, these animals are known as ruminants, and examples are cows, goats, buffaloes. Okay, these animals, they basically swallow the grass, okay, quickly, and then they store it in rumen. Okay, rumen is the first stomach, and here food is partially digested and it is known as cud. Okay, plants contain what? They contain it contains cellulose. So cellulose is a complex structure and it needs time to get digested. It needs a large digestive system to get digested, which is perfectly there in the herbivorous animals. Okay, so the process where cud basically returns to the mouth in small lumps for ruminants to chew is known as rumination. Okay, so let's understand this with the help of the diagram. So the food that is chewed by for the first time by the animals, okay, it first enters into the rumen. Okay, from rumen it is then regurgitated, and then it comes back to the reticulum. It is stored in the reticulum, and from reticulum it then returns to the mouth where they further process it. Okay, this processing is known as chewing the cud. Okay, the food that is stored in the rumen, it is partially digested, it is known as cud. Okay, then this cud returns to the mouth where they chew it again. Okay, and then it goes to the third part of the stomach, which is omasum. Okay, from omasum then it moves into the abomasum, and from abomasum then the absorption and assimilation and egestion then takes place. Okay, so basically the main stomach is abomasum. Okay, omasum also, here mechanical digestion is taking place. So you see how much time it can take for this, for digesting the cellulose. And that is why these animals, you know, the size of these animals is larger, not larger, longer. Okay, we are taller. Okay, the animals, like human beings and our ancestors, we are tall. Okay, but these animals, they are longer because they have a longer digestive system to accommodate that. They have such kind of body, and also they are herbivorous animals. They are only depending upon plants for nutrition. So for digesting cellulose they need a larger digestive system, longer digestive system. Okay, then among the disorders of the digestive system, now you must be common with, you know, some of the disorders, like there is diarrhea. Okay, constipation is there. There is ulcers. Okay, ulcers are of two types: duodenal, that take place in the duodenum. Okay, and peptic ulcers, which occur in the stomach. And one more disease I hope you are aware of, uh, piles. Okay, piles or hemorrhoids. So diarrhea is the disease where uh, a lot of water comes out through the waste matter. Okay, through the feces a lot of water comes out. So the symptoms of diarrhea can be weakness, okay, dehydration basically, because the water is not getting absorbed. Okay, so a simple solution is there for the patients with diarrhea. They can be given uh, an oral rehydration solution which has salts and sugar, which helps in recuperating with the loss of water. Okay, constipation is where basically the feces become hard. Okay, so uh, it becomes very difficult to expel out the feces because they have become hard, and in constipation excess of water is absorbed from the feces. Okay, so constipation can lead to pain, flatulence, etc., especially in the rectal area. And constipation is sometimes associated to piles and hemorrhoids also. In piles, the rectal veins which are present in the rectum region, they get inflamed, okay, and they start bleeding. That's why hemorrhoids also, just like constipation, is a very painful disease. Ulcers on the other hand, it is actually, the cause of ulcers is uh, a bacteria which is known as Heliobacter pylori. And this bacteria basically is present, it lives under the epithelial lining of the small intestine and stomach. Okay, so they make kind of holes inside the epithelium, and if it is there in the duodenum region of the small intestine, they are known as duodenal ulcers, and if it is in the stomach region, then they are known as peptic ulcers. So this also can cause bleeding, weakness, and it can cause diarrhea. This disease also is very painful. Okay, so these are some of the diseases, along with the parasite infestation that takes place mainly in the intestine, like tapeworm, hookworm, roundworm, threadworm. Okay, these parasites can cause severe infections, which, if it is not um treated properly, treated on time, these parasites, they can reach the brain also and start eating the brain. Okay, so these are some of the disorders, and with this we have finished the topic also, and we are moving on to some questions. Okay, so gastric glands in stomach release hydrochloric acid, enzyme pepsin, and mucus. What will happen if mucus is not secreted by the gastric glands? So, like I was telling you, if mucus is not secreted by the gastric glands, okay, the hydrochloric acid and pepsin will start digesting the lining of the stomach. Okay, so the HCl and pepsin will digest the stomach lining without mucus. Okay, this is the answer. Next, a small intestine in herbivores is longer than the carnivores. Do you agree? Support your answer. Yes, we agree that a small intestine in herbivores is longer than the carnivores because they are involved in digestion of cellulose. And digestion of cellulose takes a lot of time. Okay, because as compared to the other substances, okay, it is a very hard substance. Okay, and for properly digesting it and absorbing the nutrients that are coming out from the cellulose, the herbivores, they need a longer small intestine. Okay, then Okay. So discuss the position and number of molars in the buccal cavity. So the total number of molars that are present in the buccal cavity, they are 12. Total number of molars, okay, they are 12, and 6 in each jaw. Okay. In the lower jaw, there are 6, and in the upper jaw also, there are 6 molars. Explain the role of liver in digestion of fats. So, liver produces bile juice, and bile juice helps in emulsification of fats. Okay. Emulsification of fats is the process where the large droplets of fats, they are broken down into smaller droplets to increase the surface area for the lipid digesting enzymes to act properly. Okay. And this is done by basically reducing the surface tension of the fats. Okay. So this is the role of liver in the digestion of fats. Let's move on. The next question is, cellulose rich foods are good sources of roughage for human beings. Justify. So, you already know, guys, that cellulose cannot be digested by the humans, okay, by human beings. So, this cellulose, as it is not digested, when it moves through the lining of the small intestine, it abrades the lining of the small intestine. Okay. So, I hope you know the meaning of abrasion. That means it removes the surface, like a tiny thin layer of the lining of the small intestine. Okay. When this abrasion occurs, mucus is secreted. Okay. Mucus is secreted from the mucus secreting cells of the intestine. As more and more mucus is secreted, it will be helpful in the movement of the undigested food out of the digestive system. Okay. That is why cellulose rich foods, they are good sources of roughage. Okay. That is why roughage is also very important. Usually you would have heard that your elders are telling you to take fruits and vegetables, the raw vegetables, so that the undigested food can be uh, expelled out from your body naturally. So this is a natural way of curing constipation. Okay. Next question is, you have to explain how small intestine is designed to absorb food. So a small intestine consists of, the lining of the small intestine consists of millions and millions of villi and microvilli. Okay. These microvilli continuously move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and they help in the movement of the food along the lining of the small intestine, increase the surface area, and in turn helps in the absorption of food. Okay. So you can write, by their movement, surface area is increased, and the food is absorbed easily. Okay. Then label the given diagram. Okay. Here the given figure actually, as given below in A to D, and give the name of each type of the teeth. Okay. So by looking at this diagram, what do you think A is? A, B, C, and D. The cutting and biting teeth are A. Okay. So if you're probably thinking about incisors, then A are incisors, and they are in the front of our buccal cavity. Piercing and tearing teeth B, as B. Okay, they are canines. If you are thinking about canines, then you're right. C are premolars, and D are molars. Okay, so this is just one jaw that is shown here. Okay, next question is about the oral rehydration solution and when it is given to the patient, and how can you prepare ORS at home. Oral rehydration solution is a solution which contains uh, sugars and salts. Okay, basically it is a mixture of glucose and NaCl. Okay, sodium chloride. Okay, and it is given to the patient when a person is suffering from diarrhea. Okay, so like I told you, in during diarrhea a lot of water is expelled out. It is basically lost through the feces. Okay, so with the oral rehydration solution, the lost water can be recovered very easily. Okay, and yes, it is possible to prepare ORS at home. You have to just take a glass of water. You have to put 1 by 4 teaspoon of salt and sugar, mix it properly, and you can drink. And it is it can help you even during hot days when you come back from school or after playing a sport. Okay, then the next question is about the acid present in stomach. Okay, acid present in stomach kills the harmful bacteria that may enter along with the food, protects the stomach lining from harmful substances, digest starch into sugars, or makes the medium alkaline. Okay, the correct answer is A. Acid not only helps in digestion of protein, but it is capable of killing any harmful bacteria that may enter along with the food. Okay, then read the following statements with reference to the villi of small intestine. They have very thin walls. They have a network of thin and small blood vessels close to the surface. They have small pores through which food can easily pass, and they are finger like projections. So you have to identify those statements which enable the villi to absorb the digested food. They are not asking anything related to the structure, just with respect to absorbing the digested food. Okay, so the correct answer is first option, A, B, and D. They have very thin walls. They also have a network of thin and small blood vessels, like I told you, for the absorption, and they also are finger like projections, which help in increasing the surface area. Okay, so that's it, guys. We have finished the nutrition in animals topic. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and with this, I also hope that you understand everything. And even after this, you if you have any doubts, you can post them on the forum, and I will be very happy to answer your questions. And stay tuned for more of my videos, and don't forget to watch them. Thank you.